Hi and welcome to Säkerhetspodcasten, sort of live at SecT. We just grabbed Ravi and Altaf when they went off stage, talking about 5G and IMSI catchers. So can you please give us a short intro to your talk?
Okay, yeah, thanks for giving this opportunity and experience your podcast. So our talk is about the way we have been seeing a lot of controversy about 5G, what it has implications. Some countries are banning it, some operators or something like this. So this is talk about giving some highlights, what exactly is the technical glitch or issue we may face in future, and how this could be having effect on national critical infrastructure or nations, for example. So we try to give that glimpse, and as well as a classical problem with mobile communication is about your mobile devices are being tracked or intercepted, and these are like IMSI catcher device are being used unlawfully as well, which is not being so example. So how this is possible in 5G or not? This is exactly we talk in this talk as well.
Yeah.
What are sort of the main differences with the 5G standard and the 4G, the current one?
The main standard is about the new revolution in the core network that has been happened. So we have a completely evolved network. It's not revolutionary. It's evolutionary basically. Many people think that it's a revolutionary. It's kind of a new, brand new. It's not a brand new. It's evolved, but we have been adapting the new changes which happen in the internet world, that we are going to the virtualized networks. Yeah. And this is being adopted in 5G, and that's what it's a new challenging network where we are adopting same internet kind of a style of virtualized network or protocols, and that increase the existing cybersecurity risk of internet to this world as well, which used to be a closed walled garden, the telco in the world, and now it's being opening up to the internet.
Do you focused a lot about like the IMSI the part, where the user user device, how it sort of communicated with the network and how it identified itself, and as you said, like earlier, you tried to track the user devices using the IMSI, but now you found some new ways to do this.
Yes, and Altaf will.
So, like you mentioned, IMSI was something like tracking based on IMSI was something active till in 4G. So in 5G, they try to correct it. So they want to protect this IMSI because it's a permanent identifier. So somehow it reveals the identity of a subscriber. So they came up with this idea of like encrypting the IMSI, and before actually sending over the air, so that subscriber identity is protected. So what we tried something new was like, okay, even though you're protecting IMSI, the device is sending its capabilities to the network in plain text. So, and we found that there were unique ways of identifying devices based on these capabilities. So we started looking into that and trying to find how we can fingerprint devices, different type of devices. Either it could be cars or phones or different IoT devices or laptops. So everything is having a modem now, and then it's easy to fingerprint them. So we started looking into that, then found different fingerprints for different type of devices. Then from there, we started to dig more, trying to find what kind of applications it's running. For example, it's a phone or it's a router, or what kind of operating system it's running, maybe Android or maybe iOS. If it's an iOS, then what kind of version it's running. So all trying to identify.
So just to summarize simply, if he runs his equipment now, he can tell you without looking at your pockets that you are using iPhone, and he can also tell you whether you are using iPhone X or iPhone 8 without looking at it, for example. Yeah. And he can also tell that whether this guy is using Huawei or a Samsung phone or what exactly even Finder module is. He can tell without looking at your device at all, just by looking at a radio parameter, which is happening without knowing you. It's because these are the digital devices which continuously emits the messages over the air, and that's what we listen and try to recognize.
It's pretty cool that you can do that already in the radio layer. You haven't more or less begin to talk to the applications or something like that. You just radio layer.
It's only in
But then you can't, as in the IMSI case, you can't really pinpoint a user. You can say that this is an iPhone user, but that's the close you get, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the level of fingerprinting is, it's not too precise. But if you're looking for like some special devices, like I said, devices from the military are different from
they will sort of stick out.
And it could really help you, like when you have a target attack for cars, for instance, or something like that.
Yeah.
Could really help you in that
So
endeavor.
imagine a situation, there is a power plant and I wanted to know which kind of sensors are being deployed. And if I figure out by just looking at the sensors, and I know that these sensors are used in a critical area or critical buildings or something like this, so it gives some hint to the attacker.
Yep, for sure. It's an information disclosure issue.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
And that gives some stepping stone for the attacker to learn something.
Yep.
And then this is what exactly we try to address to the standard people. That
sort of check some preconditions and then know how to gain further access or commence and design another attack.
Exactly. And our point was, if you don't need this information, why don't we ask this information after the authentication, having encryption, right? So that makes sense to share this critical information, which gives something to the attacker. And nowadays attackers are getting evolved. So that's what it's more important to be one step ahead before them.
And I think you also created a tool like mobile Nmap.
Yeah, that's the...
And you can use that as a passive listener.
But then you need a USRP as well, right? So you need some... So what do you need if I want to, let's start doing this? What is the minimum?
Like a mini PC and then an SDR board.
Yeah.
I mean, we are like accustomed to using USRPs, like, because we are using them for quite a lot of time, but it costs somewhere around like $1,000.
Yeah.
But there are also like other SDR boards like Lime SDR, which are way cheaper, like $250.
Yeah.
So if you can just integrate that with the PC you have, I think you have the tool.
Yeah.
So
an interesting surveillance platform to see all your mobile devices. But
I mean, you are right, but we don't want to give the intention that we are doing this for a bad purpose. The point is, the people who define those standards, they assume that the attack will no longer be possible because the capability of attacker has to be more. He has to put more cost to build these tools or something. But this is not the case, and that's what we want to prove that with using $200 having some open source knowledge, if we can do this, I mean, attacker having full capability,
way ahead of you guys. Yeah.
So this is about proving the point rather than saying theoretical way in our sense.
True.
That was the motive, for example. So.
And did I understand one of your attacks right? I think it was the bidding down, the downgrade attack. You can actually use these capabilities and put a man-in-the-middle attack because they are unencrypted or unsecure. So you can change the capabilities between the user device and the real network. So you can convince the network and the mobile device that, they can't even use these cool 5G features. So they need to downgrade to 2G.
Yeah.
Will that also mean that they will downgrade like the authentication part? So they will totally revert to 2G?
No, the authentication actually happens on LTE itself.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
So I mean, your data traffic and everything is secure, like unless somebody's messing with that, like
So it's just voice over 2G to 3G then.
Yeah, and then you're killing the speed of the device, which is I think the most essential one today. Like if my YouTube takes like just to watch a video like 10 minutes for like 1 minute video.
Yeah.
So which is
not good.
But will you be able to do 2G and 3G attacks that is decrypt the communication? Not the data, but the voice.
That we can't do in 3G, but we can do in 2G only.
Yeah.
Because that's not possible with 3G, 4G as well, because they have the mutual authentication. So that's not possible.
But so if you manage to, by manipulating the UE capabilities, you can manage to downgrade to 2G, you could actually listen in on the calls.
As long as we have the proper infrastructure.
Of course.
But there's a lot of like preconditions, but
But there are
in the best of worlds.
But there are other ways of interception that we haven't talked in the something. There are many legitimate or illegitimate way that you also get encryption in 4G, maybe in 5G as well. So there are different scenarios.
Yeah.
I think you touched on a really important point in the end there. Many operators they don't know the details of their own network. They use hardware directly from the vendors, more or less default, and they have no knowledge on how to actually change the settings and stuff, and what to change them to. So I think
that's so scary. Though.
Yeah, exactly. For like critical infrastructure that everyone uses.
Happens a lot though. But the thing is, the devices in themselves has lawful interception capabilities when you're attached to the backend, right? So you can actually lawfully or semi-lawfully, someone could listen in.
Yeah, I mean, lawfully, as long as you bring the court order against some persons and then police or they can legally listen. And that's what standard also does it. So it's not like we don't provide, because every technology has two sides, right? So,
for sure.
That's what you need to have a standard as well. It's only the point that some other nation state actors should not exploit those against citizens or
hopefully.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have looked into how different operators in different countries actually how they act when it comes to UE capabilities and stuff like that. And you can see like different patterns from different ISP, what kind of settings they have been using.
Yes, because in this we only present like one scenario where the capabilities are accessed before security.
Yeah.
So we observe like a lot of differences in different operators. So not only like when the phone is registering, but if you go after like maybe when you're making voice call, there are also capabilities being accessed, but it's very different. Like, so it depends on the vendor from whom they're actually buying this. So like there are a couple of vendors, so it's really different. And we saw like a lot of different patterns in different operators. So.
And your work has resulted in some sort of like recommendations for operators. These are the settings you should use.
Yes. We already pushed this to the GSMA. I think they took this issue forward, like communicated with the operators. Then the standards body, 3GPP. So they actually addressed this issue. So now the capabilities will be accessed only after security. So there's a connection.
That's good. So
this has been addressed in the standard, and there is a new update for the standards that has been corrected. So this is not the guideline, but we changed the standard.
Have you seen, I think it's Karsten Noel, who has been looking into creating a map of the world of the different operators and what kind of security settings they have been using. I think his focus was a GSM.
Exactly.
So something similar to that could possibly be used in your case then, to like map what kind of settings being used for the different operators?
This could be one scenario, but I think it's the kind of map we had a 2G. It was not being updated, and it's not reliable. The point is, you have the map, but you don't have a data to check it, right? So you need to blindly trust them by the picture. So if you give the real data as well to the end user, saying that okay, this was the data from downtown in Stockholm, and this shows the 2G map, so shows the data. Because people trust the data. I mean, we are in the world where we need the data. So that map doesn't give you. So it's a good way for us to see that whether we can have the real data attached with the map, where like you user can check, or if you are a work guy from Ericsson or whatever the company, you can reevaluate if this is the correct or wrong. So that's like a best way of doing it in two ways. So we are trying to also go in that direction, hopefully soon, for example.
Yeah, because like if GSMA adopts to the new standard, it doesn't really matter if the operators doesn't act. And operators don't act if they don't get pressured to act, because acting costs money, right?
Yeah, there are some new activities going in 5G standard about security assurance standards or something like this, where they try to force every operator to follow this practice.
Some sort of certification or something.
Yeah, kind of does, but I don't know how this can applicable to every part of the network, or this is only for few network blocks, for example. So it's good to see that a GSMA or somebody takes actions that some operators should have these practices, or these are the best practices. The problem is it has to be mandated locally, because you can't enforce the worldwide law, right? So every country has a local regulation that you should have this and that.
They need to take their own position in it, how they want to act.
And we'll see also what EU takes the stance on it, for example.
Yeah, sure.
So that's also a different aspect, for example. Because telecommunication is about to become a national critical infrastructure, and then we need to follow those guidelines. I hope so. This becomes a law or mandate, something like this.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So if people are interested in your work, where can they find more information?
Yeah, the information, we have a websites as well, our own websites, or where we do work, like you work at TU Berlin, I work at Sintef. We have our blogs as well, where we continuously write and release the papers and everything. And we just don't only do the research by giving a talks or anything. First, we do scientific research, we publish the papers, and then we confirm with standardization body whether it's true or false. Then we release it. So this process takes more than 1.5 years or something like this, and then it becomes at the end. So all the proofs are there, the names and the CV, everything on the GSMA website as well, where people find the information.
Cool. Thanks for a really good talk.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.